Ladies and gentlemen, episode. Are we on 5? Or is this 5, Grant?
I think it is 5.
It's 5. It
Yeah,
is
we'll go
5.
5,
Episode
not
5.
6.
It is, and it's definitely not 6, but we're a man down tonight, guys. Chris isn't here. Chris is, by my reckoning, somewhere over France right now on a plane, flying into Barcelona. So we don't have him this week. We did try and do the recording earlier. The recording failed. So Chris is away. Enjoy it. See you next week, because I know full well that Chris has got some things to talk about with what's gone on in League Two this week. But Grant, I don't think we mess about. I think we just get straight into the biggest thing that's happened in League Two this week, and I think it's really easy to segue into it. The biggest thing that's happened in League Two probably for a long time. Mike Fondop, 2 goals.
2 goals, Mike Fondop. Who'd have thought it?
The £50
From a lot
goal.
of people, the £50 goal. Can we call it a £100 goal since it's costing us 50 quid each year?
It's 50 quid each. Yeah, it's the £100 goals, but yeah, I mean, mate, not just 2 goals. Player of the week.
Player of the week. Not just for the league. EFL. He was in the
EFL.
player. He was in the team of the week.
Yeah,
it was the full football league.
He's the thing about him is his header was unreal. Like, he got into positions that Oldham have clearly been missing. I've actually got, so for the first time, we've never done this, got some videos lined up that we can share in, and we can actually watch and see the Oldham highlights from this week.
Yeah, so let's get it on. I want to see that header again. It was a towering header from Big Mike and his celebration.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Last gasp that went in as well.
Yeah, very end, and it's. Here's the important thing, and I think obviously we get quite a few Oldham fans listening. The important thing is this: they didn't lose. They scored 3 goals. Yes,
it's points picked up against a really good team,
a very good team.
Like Newport aren't daft.
No,
they're a very well set up team, and picking up a point away at Newport. It was away, wasn't it?
Yeah, away at Newport.
Away at Newport. Is nothing to shake your head at, but I think they'll still find that they'll feel that it's points dropped.
To be honest, looking at the highlights, it'd be hard to argue against that, because you look at the first 2 goals they conceded. Like all 3 of Oldham's goals were quality goals. Like, they really were good goals. The first 2 they conceded were unlucky. You got one that just takes a massive deflection. No one's going to be able to do anything about that. The keeper's blindsided at that stage. Mm-hmm. The other one, the defender's done his job. He's got the blocking. It's just dropped, and it happens. They will feel, I think, out of the 2 teams, Oldham will be the most disappointed with that. I feel like Newport will probably feel, obviously they'll be a bit disappointed because they'll have expected to win it going in, but I think looking back on the game, they'll probably feel that they got lucky there.
Yeah, I mean, is the set off, and has that impacted the position where Bambula would have been if he was still on the pitch? I don't know how they set up tactically after the sending off, because I know he is a bit more of a forward player, but would he have been in more of that position to be able to pick up that player? Has left a player spare, essentially, that would have picked that up. So it's maybe had a knock-on effect in that. So maybe they can feel a bit aggrieved with the whole a bit more aggrieved with the red card incident. That, I've seen them given as bookings, but equally, it's one of these ones where you go, I've seen it given as a red. I'll talk more about bookings and red cards a wee bit later on as well.
Yeah, I think just for me on that, the only thing that I sort of look at with that is the way that he went in. I never understand players going in like that. I think if he'd gone inside on like you would expect in a slide tackle, he wouldn't have got it. But it's the fact that he's gone in on his ass, feet in, like it
both
just
feet in, isn't it?
Yeah, and this
is where you go. I've seen them given.
Yeah, and it's not great, but Oldham again, unbeaten under Sheza. What comes next for Oldham? Let's segue on to that part there, Grant. Have you got anything you'd like to bring up regarding League Two this week whilst I'm here?
League Two. Well, you're here. You're here for a little while. I hope you're not just going to disappear on me. That'd be
going in a minute.
Yeah, you just disappearing off. It's late. We are recording it late to make sure we get this out for you guys tomorrow.
Yes. Well,
yeah,
today,
I mean, it's not the only
today actually.
Yeah, today. Yeah, so we actually get it out. Things that have happened in League Two. This is probably the biggest, isn't it? Other than Fondop scoring. Adams sacked.
Yeah.
We do just so people aren't confused. We've filmed a bit with a Mansfield fan, and we've got an interview there with him. There are comments made by me in that section that wouldn't make sense if I didn't say that was filmed on Monday. So just to let you know, it's filmed on Monday. Adams sacked. What's your thoughts on it?
I feel like I don't want to dwell too much on the sacking side of things, because I know when Chris is back next week, he's gonna want to have his say on it, and
Chris, have a say on Adams getting sacked.
I think
we know you've got an opinion on it, Chris.
Yes, we do. We've heard it. The thing with the Adams situation is, I look at it in two ways. I don't feel he was sacked for what happened on the pitch. I feel like he went because of what happened off of it. His interview on Saturday, he didn't endear himself to the fans in any way, shape, or form, and the relationship had gone. And it's not good. It really isn't good. 8 managers in 4 years. You said when you came down to watch us earlier this season, we're a team in transition, and it just seems to be like a never-ending transition. I'm hoping that, and I believe that whoever comes in, or I believe in the owners and the CEO to get the right person in. I did feel like it was Adams. I feel like if those interviews hadn't been given, we wouldn't be having this conversation, because I think he'd have been still in charge.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. With what you say, because you look on paper, at Adams' record, and a manager like him should do well with a club like Bradford. He had the backing. I would say, looking at the team that's out, he has made most of the signings that have played in that team.
Yeah.
So people can't say he's not been backed. I think by the owners. You can't argue with that. He's brought in the squad, but there's been something, I think, clearly going on, and it's just not sat right, and he's not built that relationship with the fans at all.
Yeah, and I think that I don't think he understood the challenge, or I don't think he fully knew what he was getting into. Now, that I'm not slating the club on that in any way, shape, or form, but what I mean is I think he personally underestimated not just the size of the job, but the expectation that comes with it, because we do have an expectation as fans, and I think that for me going forward, we're going to bring someone else in. They need time. It may be someone I don't want to come in. It may be someone that some other fans don't want to come in. They're not going to be able to please everyone, but whoever it is, we're going to have to get behind them, because we can't keep doing this, and we need to give them that 12 to 18 months that I mentioned last week. I think the sooner we as fans accept that we support a League Two football club, the easier this will become. And I get that fans want to see us in the Championship. I get that fans go, we're a big club, we should be in the Championship, but you're only as big as where you are. And for me, we're in League Two. We deserve to be in League Two. We've got a League Two team. At the minute, we've got a League Two structure as a club that we're trying to improve upon, and we're trying to get it better. And we've got Ryan Sparks, and I've got all the love in the world for Ryan Sparks when it comes to this football club, because he knows what he's doing. He's going to get it right. He's going to find the right person. It's going to take some time. It's not going to be the overnight fix that we all want. I'd love it to be. I'd love to be able to say, do you know what, Grant? Adams has gone. Whoever takes over, that's it. We're going up this year.
That there's almost a younger following that have seen more success in Bradford, and I don't say more recent years, but you look over the last kind of 15, 20 years, and they've seen successes. They've seen that they've been in the Premier League, and you've got that age group that have watched players come through. So they've seen like your McCalls, your Windasses who have done well at the club, and they've almost gotten used to being in the Premier League, in the Championship, and not known kind of previously the position, and then more recently kind of reverting back to that sort of those leagues again. And they want almost immediate success to jump up because you've got the stadium, you've got the facilities, you've got a large fan base. Is it more of an expectation thing?
Yeah, and I don't necessarily.
Fans.
No, we're not. But I think it's not necessarily about the fact that we have seen what we've seen over the last 20 years, because I'll be honest, mate, a lot of it's been absolutely horrific. You know, we dropped out of the Championship 2004. We dropped out of League One into League Two 2007. Aside from the Parkinson years with the cup final and the promotion, there's not really been much to shout about. It has been sort of backward steps, but I don't think it's anything to do with what they've seen at Bradford. I think that we brought in a new generation of fans when we lowered season ticket prices, or when we have cheap season tickets, and I'm not going to hide away from that fact. And I think that we do have in fact, I know we do because I've spoken to people. There's quite a few fans that do go to games now purely because it's cheap. And these fans, Monday to Friday, they don't support Bradford. And I'm not slating them. You know, we want people in the ground. We want people buying shirts and stuff like that. But if you're used to watching your Man United, your Chelseas, your Liverpools, your Man Cities on the TV because that's your actual team, and Bradford is your second team, we just need to get that. And I come back to what I said a minute ago. We need to realise it is League Two. And I think the expectation is because of what we see. You know, football's everywhere now. When I was growing up, it was on. You saw Match at Day on a Saturday night. It wasn't where it is now. It's literally, you go on social media, it's everywhere. You see all these things going on. You see teams playing phenomenal football, but we're League Two. We will get it. We will get it right at some stage. But where do we go? And that's where do you why. Go?
I mean, there's options sitting here on the table. Obviously, the interview with Sparks, he said he wants to take his time. He wants to find the right man for the job. This, for me, indicates I don't think he's looking for a quick fix. I think you're going to be looking potentially. We're going to be looking at a case of an interim until the end of the season, consolidate, then build into next year, or if he's just looking at a longer gap to try and to get the right man in. Who are you looking at candidates-wise? The obvious ones that are sitting there: Steve Evans, Grant McCann, potentially Truman staying on as interim. Who else have I seen kicking about? Jonathan Woodgate, Neil Warnock. What's your thoughts? I've also seen the guy, I'm looking at the odds here, Ralph Minge.
Yeah, I saw that earlier tonight, and I was just like...
I can't not say that. I had to look twice at that. Ralph Minge. Everyone,
Ralph Minge.
If Minge becomes the Bradford manager...
14-1, isn't there?
I don't know what. I'm not making a bet about Minge.
So looking at managers, it's, to be fair, it's not a bad list. It isn't the worst list in the world in terms of managers that are available. I know right now Steve Evans is his favourite. His odds have dropped massively now. Odds, you can take them with a pinch of salt, because all that means is by his odds dropping is that someone's lumped a load of money on it. Which
put money on it.
Yeah, no one knows who's going to be the manager. Sparks has said he's going to take his time, so it is purely down to fans just going, I think it's going to be Evans, lumping money on it. Personally, I wouldn't say I wouldn't be happy with that, but I can see there being some issues with that should that happen. But if it does, it does. Like I say, we've got to get behind it, whatever it is. For me, you've said it. If Derek Adams left, it was Pete Wild, and I deliberately didn't say his name. I was gonna touch on him, but yeah. For me, that's where we've got to go. But it's not a case of just simply going, okay, we want Pete Wild, let's get Pete Wild, because he might not want to come. We don't know his situation. We don't know what his, how. He might be completely content at Halifax and he doesn't want to rock that boat. He might not feel like he's up for it.
He's in a steady job at Halifax. They want to break into League Two, but we know there's so much money and so much competition in the National League. One automatic spot in playoffs. As long as they're getting into that position, I don't think he's in trouble with his job at Halifax. If Halifax sat in the National League and sat in the top 10, top 8, he could happily see the rest of his managerial career out at Halifax. I don't think the Halifax fans would be bothered about it, as long as he don't go into the bottom half of the table. Yeah. Would he want to leave that to move to Bradford? Would there be a lot more pressure on him, a lot more expectation? But I think he could deliver. I rate him so highly, but it's down to him for that.
I think he could. I think he could deliver. There's no doubt on that front. But I agree that there's a lot more pressure, and I think that pressure, again, that's going to be the telling factor here. We need somebody, and Sparks said it in his interview. We need somebody who can shoulder that expectation, because that's where the fans are going to get on your back if you're not putting in the results that they want to see. Unfortunately, it is going to happen, and it happens a lot. But if you aren't putting in what they want to see, it's not necessarily about the results, I suppose, in a way. They just want to see a Bradford side that are willing to die for that team, are willing to die for each other. If we see that, that's it. We're halfway there. We can work on the rest. I honestly, hand on heart, don't know who the manager is going to be. I'd like it to be Pete Wild. I know Chris is going to say about McCann, and don't get me wrong, I would like it. I think McCann would be a great appointment.
I don't think McCann would be a terrible appointment at all. I think he would be great. But obviously, a key. Would he drop?
Just one more you mentioned, Grant. Neil Warnock. Now, I mentioned Neil Warnock to you guys, and when we first obviously sacked Adams, Warnock's been on the radio since and has said he would not be against dropping to League Two. Now, for me, if the Bradford job is available in League Two, it's the job, isn't it? That is the job. If you're a manager looking at League Two, that's the one you look at and you go, that's the challenge. That's the club that I feel could progress to this level. And it all depends on, I suppose, what he's wanting. If he's wanting to come in, Neil Warnock's obviously, he's taken Sheffield United up into the Premier League quite a lot. He's done QPR, this, that, and the other. But once he's got them there, he's been about trying to keep them in the league and fighting at that lower end. So he's always managed just below his level in the Championship, and then he is a lower half Premier League manager. It's
for me,
how would he rise to it?
For me, it's like if you're a Premier League team now, go and getting Alan Pardew or Steve Bruce coming in. Like we talked to Adrian later on, and I'm not going to spoil too much of that. We talk about young, forward-thinking people in football. Do you really want someone like Warnock coming in? I would say he is one of your old school, almost dragons of football. Do you really want that coming in? Someone who's going to beat the shit out of the players and do it, or do you want someone forward-thinking? I think you'd be looking at Warnock and he'd be in and out in a year.
I do, and I'm not thinking about Warnock as a long-term fix. I'm thinking Warnock until the end of the season. Let's see what happens. But I think
keep trying until the end of the season.
I think we need to look at how things go. I'm going to come on to the next 5 games in a minute because it's not looking good. But the thing with Warnock is he has what I just mentioned. He has the shoulders for that expectation. He knows what he's managed consistently at a higher level. He could get the fans back on side. I mean, if we announce Neil Warnock, I don't think there'd be many fans in. They may have the opinion that you've got, where he's a bit old school, but to get Neil Warnock in League Two. That is a statement of intent that shows that you are wanting to progress. You're wanting to do something.
I thought that when we got Dave Jones in. We all know how that finished with a Jeff Stelling rant on TV him eating a sausage sandwich mid-interview and basically trying to take the club down. I'd punch him in the face. We can leave that in. I would. If he ever shows his face in Hartlepool ever again, I think he'll get what's coming to him. I don't think he ever will.
No.
So your next 5 games.
Next 5 games. So Oldham on Saturday. For me, and I'm gonna be honest, and you're gonna go, we should smash Oldham. Now, I'm not saying we will, but I'm saying, and I know that Oldham are unbeaten in the last 4 games, but I think every single team that's come up against them in their last 4 games has to have gone into those games thinking, we are going to pump these. They have to have. If you're going up against a team that have spent the most of the season at the bottom of the league and you're not expecting to win, there's a problem. We should be expecting to win on Saturday. Will we win? I think we've got it. We've got what it takes, but we've got to bring it Saturday because they're up for it.
If you asked me on Monday, I would have said Oldham would have beat you, and Fondop would have stuck the final knife into Adams. Gone full circle.
Oh, can you imagine?
But do you know what? You see now, since Adams isn't there, I think it'll be a much closer game, and I'm unsure what the result would be. It's at Oldham, though. And I think the Oldham fans will be right up for it.
Oh, they will. They've sold an extra 2,000 home tickets.
Oh, we know they're up for it. We speak to Oldham fans daily,
constantly.
And we know they're up for this game. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. They've got the big man up front who's put goals away. Can he continue that form? We'll see.
I think, do you know what? I'm quite glad he got his goal on Saturday, because if he'd have got his first goal for Oldham against us in what would have been his 3rd game, and I'd have lost the bet in person.
You need to get a picture with him.
Oh, mate, 100%. All over it. Don't worry.
Yes.
So with just a thing on Truman's obviously coming as interim. He's caretaker until we sort something out. But last season that happened as well. McCall went. Truman and Sellers came in. Truman was the manager. Sellers was sort of, they were put as joint managers, but it was Truman. We went 13 games with only 1 loss under them. What's going to happen? He's not an idiot. He's not an idiot. And the thing is, he loves the club. He's come from the youth. He's worked with the youth, and he's worked his way up. He does like to give youth a try as well.
Yeah. So, see, looking after that with the Oldham game, the games just get progressively harder. Well, I don't think progressively. You get a big middle game, but after that, they're still not easy. You've got Harrogate after that.
Which we lost. We lost 2-0 to them last week.
Yeah, you're at home though. Yeah. I think there's potential to take points from Harrogate. There always is, but Harrogate are always up for a game.
We've never beaten them either.
You have never beaten Harrogate.
Yeah.
So
ever.
Tough one. Mansfield.
We talk enough about Mansfield when Adrian gets on in a minute, so let's
scratch that.
Swindon, I mean, turned them over 3-1 earlier this season at Swindon. Granted, things have changed. Their form's changed. Our form has, I wouldn't say our form's changed. It's sort of stayed the same. It's been quite inconsistent, really. I think we can take points against Swindon, but
champions elect, Forest Green.
Write
the game off.
No, we drew against them earlier this season. I think that's got to be in the players' minds. You've got to go into every game trying to win it, but I think we can take a draw.
You weren't impressed with them. When you
not at all.
First in the season,
but what they've done's worked. And I've spoken to a lot of Forest Green fans since. Sorry, not Forest Green fans, other fans from other clubs since, and they had the same opinion as me. So it wasn't just like a one-off thing. It was, unfortunately, that was the way they set up this season. Fair play to them. Can't knock it. But enough Bradford. They're gone.
Gone.
Well, they're not. They're in here. They'll always be in here. But managers, Grant.
Managers. We would have mentioned him potentially in the Bradford thing.
He was odds favourite. It was odds on favourite when.
But we're not, because shock, horror. He's the Walsall manager, Flynn.
Michael Flynn. Michael Flynn, now Walsall manager.
I'm gonna hold my hands up here. I did not see that coming at all. I was on the League Two Facebook page, and there's a couple of Walsall fans that were saying Flynn, and I went, if you think you are getting Flynn as manager, you are having a laugh. You're going to get someone in like Richard Money, who's just going to come along, and you are still going to struggle.
So do you want to wish your apology now, or?
Yeah, I'll apologise now for that. Yeah. Eating my words currently, and what an appointment for Walsall.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I think the chances of survival of just before, I think I said last week, I think it was Walsall we were talking about, where I said their chances of survival don't hinge on them, they hinge on the other teams around them being worse. But I think I think now with Flynn, I don't see them having a problem. I think they'll put a run together. They'll get themselves out of that danger. But my thing, and I'll ask you this, Grant, because you've asked me some questions, so I'm going to let you do some talking on this. Flynn, his aim this season's got to be to keep him up. That's fine. What's your aim next season if you're Michael Flynn for Walsall?
It's a tough one. It depends for me what he's getting in. A lot of the Walsall fans are dubious about what's going on in the background. I mentioned him last week, their technical director, Fullerton, or director of football. I don't know exactly what his title is.
I think he's a director of football.
They don't have faith in him and what he can bring in. They even went to say they don't have faith in what manager he can bring in. Whether this is a master stroke from him, bringing in Flynn to bring the fans back on side. Flynn's got a wealth of contacts. He's had great FA Cup runs.
Yeah.
Famously, it was Newport, wasn't it? Newport?
Yeah.
He took them through. Was it Padraig Amon scoring against Tottenham? He's got so many contacts in football to bring through that are they going to want to try and build a team to try and push for playoffs next season? I think if you're Flynn, you have to.
Yeah. I think Michael Flynn would be disappointed to not be pushing for playoffs next season.
Yeah.
I really think he will. The thing
he's
with him is...
He's a big manager.
He is a big manager, which for someone who's so young in his managerial career, that's a testament to him, isn't it? Look at what he's gone from. I mean, he was playing for us. We had him playing for ourselves, and then obviously he left. He went to Newport, I think, after he left us, and he retired there. And he did phenomenal. Newport fans loved him. As far as I'm aware, I think they hounded him out in the end.
That was the same. I'm sorry to bring him up again. It was the same with Adams at Plymouth. He was kind of hounded out as well at the end, wasn't he?
It always happens. It ends. Every manager. Look at Arsene Wenger.
It's the only job in football, isn't it, where you can get sacked for being crap and then get appointed in another job,
promotion
a month or two later to a club that's either bigger or in the same sort of league. But
but first game,
a great record. Any club in the football league, if you were in League One or Two, and you said Michael Flynn, you wouldn't turn your nose up at it.
No, he wouldn't. He's untainted at the minute as a manager. Mm-hmm. He's not had that bad time as a manager, really. I think it just and that probably will come at some stage. Every manager goes through that run, but at the minute he is a hot prospect when it comes to being a manager. Mm-hmm. You want someone like Michael Flynn, but first game of for him as Walsall manager is away at Forest Green this weekend. It does not get bigger than that for him. I think he will go all out to beat Forest Green for a statement. He has to. But I think he can do it. I wouldn't be surprised to see this be the game that Forest Green drop points. We said they weren't going to drop points, or we didn't think they would. But this, for me, is the one where they could lose.
The new manager feel, the new manager factor. Are they going to set up much different as he had time to get his training involved in it? Does he know the team well enough to change things? Yeah. I think there'll be a few changes here and there, and it'll be more the kind of behaviours that he wants instilled in the club that you'll see that'll maybe drive them on. The players will be probably a bit more galvanised. The new managerial feel. Yeah, I mean it's going to be tough because Forest Green haven't lost since when did they last lose in the league? I'm just looking back just now.
I think it's been a while.
Was it just Swindon? They lost 2-0 was the last time they lost in the league.
When was that?
Was back in. I'm just scrolling back.
Well, while you scroll,
9th of October 21.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that long.
Was the last time they lost, and that was 2-0 to Swindon.
The thing for the players at Forest Green. Well, the thing for the players this under Flynn is that they now are playing for their contracts, because he's going to have a clear out in the summer, and he's going to want to bring his own guys in, and he's going to want to put his own mark on the team. So these players now are playing for a contract. They're playing to stay at that club. They'll want to stay at that club because Walsall are not a bottom half League Two side. They're not. They shouldn't be there, and it's amazing that they are. But I mean, we'll see. We'll talk next week when Chris is back, and we'll find out what's going on. We could be going, Jesus, Forest Green put 6 past Walsall at weekend. Flynn's got a job on. But I think now what we need to do is
there's no expectations on them though. That's the big thing. If they lose, they're not expected to win. If they win, we've got something to talk about next week.
We've got a lot to talk about next week because Chris is it's just going to be an hour of Chris just ranting about Derek Adams next week. We're going to let him get it all off his chest.
Please listen next week.
Yeah, I'm going to get a bleep soundboard button, just bleep, bleep.
What we'll do is we'll put like a bit in and we'll edit it, right? So we'll let him talk about Bradford and Adams. We'll note the time when that happened. We'll edit you in before going, you can skip to X, so people can just skip it if they want.
Yeah, guys, let us know if you want to see that, if that's what you want as an option. We'll put timestamps of what discussions went on. But let's get Adrian in because, guys, as Grant said, this interview with Adrian, Mansfield fan, Adrian Keita, he joined us on Monday. We recorded it early. We were going to record the whole podcast earlier this week because we knew Chris was going away, but we were just a bit unsure as to the Adams situation. We kind of didn't know whether we should expect an announcement, so we held off. Thankfully, we did because we'd have missed it. And so, yeah, Adrian's joining us now. And Adrian, come on down. I say that like he's here, but he's not. Right, guys. See you in a couple of minutes. We've got Adrian with us, Adrian Keita, and I've just checked I pronounced it right. Adrian is here tonight as a Mansfield fan, which, aside from Forest Green, I'd probably say the happiest fans in the league right now. Don't know if anyone wants to disagree with me. So, Adrian, I'm going to let you tell us how long you've been a Mansfield fan and go off. Tell us what's gone on this season. Why is this season, or why is this last sort of 14, 15 games being different to the rest of it?
Well, I've been a Mansfield fan since I want to say about the age of 10, so 2011 roughly, when we were in non-league. So it's been a couple of years. So I want to say 10 or 11 years as a Mansfield fan. I've experienced one promotion, could be 2 this season. You never know if we continue the run of form that we're in. But yeah, it's been a strange season because the last 2 seasons have been very up and down. The last 2 seasons have seen us finish in the bottom half of the table, which as a League Two fan, you wouldn't necessarily see us finishing there. We've been near abouts the promotions for a couple of times now, and then the past 2 seasons have been a bit rubbish. So this season we were near the bottom of the league, second bottom of the league after 14 games, but the last 14, 15 games have seen us shot up right up the league. I think we're 5th or 6th potentially because of the games that were played on Saturday. We drew 0-0 against Bristol Rovers, which, I mean, you would take a point any day of the week. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind, really. I mean, I've got a smile on my face currently because I'm happy with what's happening at the club, especially the signing of Matty Longstaff on loan from Newcastle United. I mean, you saw that and you would just feel like we are pushing for promotion. There's no ifs and buts about it. We are pushing. But yeah, the signings that we made in January were amazing. And yeah, I think it onwards and upwards. I think long may this continue. Long may this run of form continue, because it's 12 games unbeaten now in the league, which, I mean, it's wow. It's very good. But yeah, I'm over the moon with the current form and how we're going.
I mean, yeah, six in the league, 14 won, 8 lost, and obviously, like you said, what is it, 12? You've not lost him.
Mm-hmm.
That's mad. That is. I mean, just for obviously anyone watching, you didn't see when he came into the chat, and I was like, "How's it going?" And he went, "Yeah, it's all right." It's like, can you imagine being 12 games unbeaten in League Two? Like, Bradford fans and Hartlepool. Grant, can you imagine as a Hartlepool fan being 12 games unbeaten and just being like, yeah, it is what it is.
Not in this league. Not in this league. I think. Well, when we were a few seasons ago, a good few seasons ago, I think we went on a 23-game unbeaten run in the league, and our fans were all just chanting, "We are unbeatable" every single week. Like,
and then you lost.
Then we lost. Every unbeaten streak has to come to an end, unfortunately. Hopefully, Mansfield soon enough. But
yeah, I think for us especially, Chris, because I mean we've got 3 very big games coming up, and the third game is Mansfield, and you know, we've been given. I mean, looks like regardless, they were going to bring the most fans that we've had this season. We've given them another 1,000.
Yeah,
tickets.
I've seen that. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't surprise me with the form. It's interesting you mentioned about, obviously, like you were near the bottom of the league. I was listening to an interview with Nigel Clough. Now, I'm a big Nigel Clough fan. I'm really glad that you didn't sack him. I think at that level for League Two, I think he's a fantastic manager. And he was just going on about how there was a lot of injuries at the beginning of the season. There was a lot of COVID. But now you've got the players back. And like you mentioned, you've got Matty Longstaff. I mean, I think anyone, anywhere who supports any team in British football would probably went, wow, that is some signing. So you guys must be really, really chuffed with that.
Yeah, but I mean, it came as a shock, really. I wasn't expecting it. You was hearing a few speculations of top journalists saying that Matty Longstaff potentially could be coming to Mansfield Town, and then it happens that I think it was a couple of minutes past midnight on deadline day. Well, it was past the deadline, but yeah, it happened. It dropped, and you were thinking, okay, what's happening? How have we managed this? How have we pulled this off? And then we pull off Jamie Murphy from Hibernian as well. And you're thinking
that was a great signing, by the way.
You're thinking as well. You're thinking he banged in goals for Nigel Clough at Burton Albion. He was on loan. He scored, I think it was 10 goals in 12 games in that loan period before COVID happened. And you're thinking, right, we've got a goal scoring striker alongside the likes of Rees, who's amazing. Jordan Barry, who's hit form now. I think the squad's come together really well. Like you said, we had injuries and COVID issues and suspension to 6-game suspension to Stephen Quinn didn't help. But yeah, it's really come together, and the squad couldn't be any stronger. I don't think it's all the players are starting to hit form. Maybe it didn't show against Bristol Rovers. I think there was a couple of tired legs in the squad because we played on Tuesday night against Colchester. But yeah, everything's going smoothly at the moment, and Nigel Clough's seeming to put a team together that are confident, and the togetherness is there. It's really there.
So what? I mean, Longstaff. How and why Mansfield? Like, do you think that it's purely down to Clough? Do you think if Clough's not there, that deal doesn't happen? Do you think it's the name that he's gone for? Obviously, it's not necessarily Nigel Clough, but it's it's where he comes from, it's his background. And do you think that that's what is key here? I mean, why Mansfield? Has he got any affiliation to you before?
Well, one thing is, of course, Nigel Clough, the big name, probably one of the biggest names in football, especially with his father, and his managerial career speaks for itself as well. But one thing that Nigel Clough mentioned was the good link with David Sharp. David Sharp is our CEO, and he's got very good connections with Matty Longstaff's agent. So I think that helped some way. But Nigel Clough, without a shadow of a doubt, I think was the main attraction. And plus, we're unbeaten in 11. It's 11 games, not 12. It's 11 games that we're unbeaten. But still, it's
relegation form. Then it's relegation form.
It's still that upward trajectory where we're unbeaten and we're winning. I know we've drawn 2 games recently, but it's that unbeaten flow, and I think that's the Nigel Clough pull and the unbeaten run and the kind of moving up the league is kind of what pulled Matty Longstaff to Mansfield, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the only thing that's right now possibly stopping you getting into the auto spot is the form that Exeter are on as well. Are you playing Exeter anytime soon, if he's already played them twice? Because that'd be some game to have coming up soon.
We play Exeter on Friday the 4th. We play them at home, so I think that will be the clash of the clash. I know we've got Newport coming up this weekend. We've got a double header.
A bye the week after.
Yeah, a bye the week after against Bradford. But yeah, that's going to be, I think, the majority of fans will be going to that Bradford game because it's close and we've sold plenty of tickets and we've got more. But yeah, it's going to be tasty to see. But we've got Newport coming up. Tranmere are also not long in the distant future, I believe. I think we're playing in April alongside Forest Green twice because the away game got cancelled because of the fog. The weather wasn't great on that evening,
wasn't it? Yeah, it was like
it was 4 minutes in. The ref, well, it was delayed for 15. Then they played 4. Then it got delayed for another 15, and then they called it off. So we play them once away, once at home. I think once in April and once in May. But yeah, we've still got some of the top teams to play. So I mean, it's not going to be easy. I think these tests against the top teams like your Northamptons, your Tranmeres, your Forest Greens are what are going to settle the season. Because you can get all the points you want against the lowly clubs, but you've still got to perform against the top teams. So yeah, the game against Exeter is probably one to look out for when they come to the One Call Stadium. But yeah, when that comes around, it'll be a tough test without a shadow of a doubt. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well, alongside the rest of the games this season.
Do you see bringing someone in like Jamie Murphy to get goals? Because that is something you have been lacking. I'm going to say that if there's one thing he's been as a key goal scorer this season. Looking at you've got Bowery in, you've got Oates, both sitting on 6 on it for the season. I'm both definitely capable of still putting in the goals. I get the ball in the net. I know Rhys Oates really well from being at Hartlepool the season before. That left a sour patch for me, him leaving to you guys.
You're never happy when anyone leaves your club.
I'm never happy when anyone leaves, especially someone as good as Rhys Oates.
Oh,
Mike Fondop, jeez. But yeah, I think that's one of the key things about bringing Murphy in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he showed it against Colchester. The speed and the trickery that he has in his repertoire. I mean, we haven't seen the potential goal scoring abilities of Jamie Murphy, but it's going to take time. It's a loan spell that's going to last a couple of months, and it's not going to click straight away. But with that being said, we have got Rhys Oates who's sitting on 6 for the season. Jordan Barry is sitting on 6. Lucas Akins has also signed. Danny Johnson is on the bench. We've got plenty of goal scoring strikers. It's just getting the right mix at the right time, because with Oates and with Barry, they're a capable duo. But if there's another third person added in, then it could disrupt it a little bit. But it may not do that. It may actually help them in a sense. But like I said, you see the goal scoring output of Jamie Murphy, and you think goals. So I think give him a couple of games, and I think he'll be getting a couple of goals sometime very soon.
The exciting thing with Rhys Oates, I find, he's capable of sitting in that hole between the midfield and the strikers, because he's got that ability. We've seen it last week, the goal that he scored, to just run. That's one thing I've always said about him. The lad runs and runs and runs, and his commitment is second to none. And I'll find he'll start the game, but he'll be flat on his arse by like the 75th minute, because he just runs so much. And I think he'd be good to fit in behind, maybe a front two, and fit in between that hole to maybe work well in your system.
Well, he plays against Colchester when obviously he scored that amazing goal. He started up front with Jordan Barry, and it was Jamie Murphy, in fact, who played as a number 10. But sometimes, obviously, it was more of a Jordan Barry on the right, Jamie Murphy on the left, and then Rhys Oates through the middle. But I mean, our system is very, very adaptable. We play a diamond, so the midfield is essentially set. But the front two, front three are very adaptable players. Jordan Barry can play essentially anywhere. He's been trialled by Nigel Clough everywhere. I think he's played everywhere apart from goalkeeper and a few midfield spots. Alongside also that applies to Lucas Akins as well. We've got a lot of versatile players in our squad, which makes our squad tick every single box, essentially. So it wouldn't surprise me if Nigel Clough did vary the system a little bit and play Oates as a centre attacking midfielder, maybe. But yeah, it's tricky to think what Nigel Clough does. I put all my faith in Nigel Clough. It goes without saying he's worked wonders this season. So whatever he does, I'll back, and whatever he does not do, I'll back as well. It's
not a bad problem to have, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. The versatility is amazing. The squad is second to none. It's very, very good. So I'm happy with how the system's playing at the moment. I wouldn't break anything. I'll keep it as it is. Like, if there needs to be changes for obviously players resting, then that's fair enough. But with a squad at the moment, keep it as it is. Don't change it. It's working fine.
It's interesting you say that, because obviously you're talking about the on-field, but I'm interested to talk about the off-field as well, because obviously when the Radfords came in, there was a lot of press attention about them both, and they were very much in the press eye, that they were coming out with with quite a lot. I mean, I don't think they necessarily said anything wrong. I think it was just the fact that they were coming out quite a lot. But obviously, I mean, obviously for myself, I think a very, very shrewd signing was bringing in David Sharp, which you mentioned about. Did a fantastic job at Wigan. Dave Whelan's grandson. How old is he? 30? I think he's 30, 31. And something like that. And I think that when he came in, there was again a lot of eyes were shown. So he's basically what's going on. Is David Sharp just taking over, and while the Radfords kind of sit at the background? Is that what's going on at the moment?
Well, first of all, I believe he came into the club as a director of football, but then obviously since then, Carolyn Radford's kind of jumped into working alongside John Radford as a chairwoman. So those two are kind of behind the scenes and working elsewhere. So I think David Sharp's current role is kind of working on the team and working on the club as they're kind of backstage. But I think he's done more of a capable job. I think, especially with the signings, like you can't doubt the signings that he's made. The pull of Matty Longstaff, Jamie Murphy, Lucas Akins, John Joe O'Toole signing on a permanent basis. I think I think the current state of the club with the Radfords in the background, I think has to go down to him. I think he's done fantastically whilst the Radfords are away. Obviously, the Radfords are going to be there to help him, but I think he runs day running at the moment whilst they're away in Portugal and doing their own thing. So, I mean, it's amazing to see that he's stepped up as a CEO, kind of delivered everything that Nigel needs, and yeah, it's tremendous because, like, he was once the I think he might still hold the record of being the youngest chairman in the Football League. It might be taken away by someone else, but yeah, he was once the youngest chairman to run a Football League club. So I think he's got the expertise and the knowledge currently. He's been in the game for quite a while now. He's been in and around the game for pretty much the whole of his life. So yeah, like I said, I'll put my faith in David Sharp. I'll put my faith in Nigel Clough because they're doing the club justice. They're bringing a community together. They're bringing a town together, and it's fantastic to see.
Just as a point, David Sharp, yes, was the youngest CEO in football. He isn't anymore. Chris, do you know who? And I've got the headline. I'm going to blank out the name, but it says usurped Mansfield's David Sharp as the youngest CEO in the game.
You can't ask me this because I'm looking at the exact same thing that you are.
Chris, any guesses?
Oh, could it be Ryan Sparks by any chance?
It's Ryan Sparks at Bradford, yeah. Ryan Sparks.
There's somebody else as well. I'm sure there's somebody else.
I'm looking younger than this. I'm looking at
I think there
Cyril Lewis Dreyfus.
He's
23-year-old takeover of Sunderland.
That's the one, yes. And it seems to be
Yeah, I'm just following who usurped David Sharp. I'm just reading it.
But we're getting to this point now where it's not as unfamiliar as it was. It was usually, your chief executive was some 40, 50, 60-year-old guy. And I quite like the fact that, you're getting these younger CEOs coming in and they've got their new, fresh ideas, very pragmatic with that. And obviously, David Sharp proves that. Ryan Sparks, I still think, is doing a fantastic job at Bradford, and it'd be interesting to see what Dreyfus does.
Just a point, Dreyfus is the owner, isn't there? So we're talking COO, CEO, and that's Steve Davison. So I'm sticking with Ryan Sparks. Thank you very much. Davison is, I don't know, but he's not younger than Ryan Sparks.
But it is good to see younger people like that coming into football, because a lot of people, they see the older folk coming in and they go, "This is the old dragon in charge with their old school ideas." I do think it is refreshing to see something like that coming in to a club.
It's also disheartening, Grant, when you're 33 years old and see a football CEO younger than yourself.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? So what we do when we started doing this last week, Adrian. So we've been looking at. We looked at the bottom half of the league and we looked at the next 5 games for them and we tried to predict what we think was going to happen. I actually think we're 1 game in and I think I was wrong on my predictions, but we're going to check that as well. Your next 5 games, I'm going to read them to you and I want an honest opinion. How many points you think you can pick up from this 15? Okay. First of all, Newport County away this Saturday. It's 6th versus 7th.
Tough game.
What do you think? Very tough.
It depends what form Dom Telford is on, the top scorer in League 2. Depends how hungry he is.
Right.
But I'm going to be confident. I'd go for a win. I'd go for a win because I think the momentum keeps on going. I mean, for Rodney Parade is always a tough place to go. I've got bad memories of that place. I've got bad memories of that club, as a matter of fact, from the 2019 season where they beat us in the playoff semi-finals. But no, I'd be confident. A win. 3 points from there.
So we got 3 points there. The next game, you've got Bradford. The game after that, we've got Exeter. We've got Bradford at Valley Parade. The game after. I mean, here's the thing. It's go and Chris. I know you look at me sometimes and you think that I'm optimistic. We are the type of club.
Think. I don't.
Yeah, no. I am very optimistic, but we are the type of club to lose to Oldham this weekend and end Mansfield's winning. But we are just. It's insane.
And also remember and do the double as well. That would be the case. But no,
But yeah, so Bradford, you know, there's going to be it's going to be a big attendance. It's going to be our biggest away attendance of the season. I'm really looking forward to it. First game of the season.
I don't blame you.
How do you kick someone from the podcast? How do you kick biggest away crowd of the season? We're opening the TL Dallas stand for the first time this season. We hadn't needed to. Unfortunately, no club's been big enough to need it, Grant. But for you, Bradford,
it's all like I say. I believe it was 2-0 last season when we played you at Valley Parade, and it was kind of a scrappy game. Andy Cook came to bite us in the home game. It'll be tough, but sometimes I think a draw would be nice from Valley Parade. I know Grant will want 3 points from there, but I don't think so. I think generally it'll be a draw. I think it'll be a more tighter game than the Newport game. I think you guys won't want to. You want to do the double over us, and I think that's what will drive you on. So I think a draw from a Bradford game will probably be like.
I'll tell you the thing that will spur them on. They will have sacked their manager by then.
Anyway. Well, yeah.
Well, if they've sacked their manager, then 3 points.
Exeter
at home, yeah. Next.
So many tough games.
I'm going to lose my job.
Derek Adams is losing his job. But no. Our home form's been spot on. 9 consecutive league victories at home. I'll go with a win. I don't think that run is coming to an end. I think we are beating Exeter quite comfortably, to be fair. I think we'll beat them comfortably. Yes, it's big words coming from me, but I generally do think that our home record and our current record, pending the Newport and the Bradford results, I think our record's been spot on, and I don't think that they will beat us. I think we'll beat them. We will win.
7 from 9 so far. 7 from 9. Then Tranmere away. Sorry, Tranmere away.
Quite a run, haven't you?
Yeah.
Win.
Away. Not even. No explanation, just a win. Right.
Did you see what happened? What happened with them against Forest Green?
I mean, Forest Green are top of the league.
It
was bad. It was.
They're in form like we are. Tranmere, I don't think they're up. They're obviously flying as well in the league, but they're not on the form that Forest Green, Exeter, and Mansfield are on. So. A win? We'll go for a win. We'll go for a win. Confidence.
I'm quite happy to be playing them tomorrow or Tuesday, or have played them, depending when this goes out.
Yes, this is the world of magic and miracles.
The world of uncertainty.
Then the fifth game, and again, not an easy game. Port Vale currently sat 9th in the league. 9th in the league with 3 games in hand on most teams above them. You know, Port Vale have got a game in hand on yourself. They win that. They're 2 points behind you. Last game, 5th game. What do you think? You've gone for what we've gone for at the minute. We've gone for 13 from. No, we've gone for 10 from 12 at the minute.
Well, I mean, if we're basing it on what happened last season at Vale Park and we turned them over 3-0,
you're going for 13 out of 15 points. Yeah, do you know what? I'm looking at it. It's quite hard to argue. I'm so happy that the one game he's dropping points at is Bradford. I'll take it.
But you're not just in it to save face.
If you've sacked Derek Adams, then 3 points from there. I'd be. You know what? I'd personally thinking I'll be happy with at least 10 out of 15. That's me. That's me thinking with my head. With my heart, 13 out of 15, I think is doable. But I'll be happy with 10. I'll be happy with at least 10.
Especially if you've got four of those teams are top 10 teams.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I want to get those games done as soon as possible. As soon as we get, we end the games against Tranmere, Port Vale, Exeter, we can focus on, like I said, I know we've got to focus on teams in the top half and we've got to get results against them. But as soon as we've got results against them, it's all about getting the wins and getting the draws and getting the results against the bottom of the half teams. Because if you're performing against the top half teams and you're not performing against the bottom half teams, then something has to be questioned. But yeah, I'll be confident with those 5 games, especially. But there's only one home game in there, and our away record's been a bit ropey at times. So
yeah.
Do you see yourselves going up automatic this year?
I don't know.
If you win 4 of those games,
why not? Yeah, why not? Exactly. Why not? Are we like? Yeah, I'm more than happy. I'd rather go up automatically than in the playoffs.
Stress.
I don't know. The playoffs is good. The playoffs is good.
We know what happened in the 2018-19 season when we got to the playoffs. I think this bunch, this squad, this management staff, everyone around the club knows that this squad and this club is going places. It's just to just back Nigel Clough week in, week out, because we know what happened when we weren't winning and we lost and we were winless in 15 games. Everybody got on his back and he kind of rode that storm and look where we are now. I was one of them people. I was quite skeptical when we were not winning in 15 games. I was thinking, right, is Nigel Clough's management style good enough for League Two? But it's turned around. It's turned around. I'm happy to see that he's kind of bought the system, bought the diamond back, because at times he experimented with his formations and they weren't working. But now the squad's flying, the team's confident. Why not? Automatics are a possibility, or a huge possibility.
Interesting. Well, look, we're gonna wrapping up this part now. So, guys, I want to say thanks to Adrian for coming on. Have you guys got anything else you want to add?
I'm just going to say, I'm going to put it out here, as I keep banging on every week, Mansfield are going up automatically.
I think you'll lose once this season between now and the end.
And really?
That's next Saturday.
That's
next Saturday. An Andy Cook hat trick.
Don't. That man haunts me. The Cookie Monster haunts me. Let's not.
Good. Adrian, thank you for coming on. Yeah, we'll. Right, guys. That was Adrian. Adrian, thank you very much for coming on. I really enjoyed having Adrian on. I think we've been really lucky with the fans that we've had, in that they've all been really open to just talking about anything to do with their clubs. And Adrian, his knowledge of Mansfield is frightening.
Oh, it's mad. Do you know what? It's not just his knowledge of Mansfield; it's his knowledge of. Every time he mentions a club, he talks about the stadium name. He's got an right insightful knowledge in the league in general. Obviously, he's involved in media, so that's a big part for him. No, thank you very much for coming on, Adrian.
Yeah,
we do look forward to catching up with you.
Yeah, we'll be meeting him at the Bradford Mansfield game, unless we get pumped, in which case we'll never be speaking to Adrian ever again. But guys, give him a follow. He's on Twitter. Grant will, until they play Hartlepool, and then we'll see. But let's talk about Hartlepool, Grant. Let's touch it. I've mentioned them. We might as well do it now. 3 unbeaten now, 3 in a row, and I'm celebrating because we are no longer the statistic of the season for you guys. We are no longer the one away game you have won.
Yeah, well, it's not just 3. It's not just 3 unbeaten. It's 3 wins on the bounce that we've had.
3 wins on the bounce.
So it's 3 wins on the bounce, and then you're looking 6 unbeaten. So we had 3 draws before we had Exeter, Stevenage, and Carlisle. That was the Carlisle game was the most boring game I've ever been to in my life. But yeah, 3 wins in the bounce. We broke our away duck again against Crawley. I was dubious at the start of that game. I think in the first 5 minutes they could have scored 3.
They
I was nervous.
One, didn't they? Yeah,
that free kick that they hit, which I don't know if Killip just tipped on the bar, or if it hit the bar straight. But I mean, the sun was right in his eyes. You seen he had his cap on, hand was up. The player had to shoot. I said, he's got to shoot.
Yeah,
you've
got to rain down on a goal. You've got to rain down on a goalkeeper if the sun's in his eyes. You've
exactly. And do you know what? It almost paid off for him, but we absolutely grafted in that game. It was a tough slog. I think we were lucky to finish the game with 11 men. I mentioned earlier, talk a little bit about reds and yellows. I think Bogle was probably lucky to stay on the pitch. Have you seen the challenge?
No, I haven't. But we spoke about it when we watched the Oldham challenge, and you said that for
my
you,
lights are turning
Bogle's...
off. Sorry,
ladies and gentlemen. Good night. This is what Grant gets for having smart lights in his house.
I get smart lights, and they turn off at certain times to make sure I don't have
excessive electricity bills, because in this day and age, no one can afford them. But you mentioned when we saw you let there be light. When we watched the Oldham highlights, you said that you felt Bogle's was potentially worse.
I do think if I'm being honest, think it was a worse challenge. And I do think that he could have potentially been sent off, but the ref was right in front of him. And didn't give the red. I think he maybe felt it was too early to give a red in the game. He's not gave a red this season. That ref. All he's given is bookings. So I don't know if that speaks more for the ref that he doesn't want to upset the game in that sort of way.
I think it just highlights the major inconsistencies with refereeing at this level. It really does. I mean, I watched you against Tranmere the other night, and the referee there, Bogle had 2 chances where the ball fell to. There was a foul on the Hartlepool player in the build-up, but the ball fell to Bogle, and he was essentially through on goal, and the referee pulled it back for a free kick on 2 separate occasions. And it's just a major inconsistency. But if we start talking about referees, we'll never stop. We'll probably do a special on referees at some stage.
Definitely. I mean, he didn't, and Mr. John Yems definitely took a grievance to it, and he's actually been charged by the FA now.
John Yems has been charged for what he said. What did he say, Grant?
For what he said. So I not in these exact words, but essentially called the referee a fat bastard. He mentioned his weight, said he was overweight, and called him a clown. Wow. And said apparently the 4th official agreed that Bogle should have went off, but the referee overruled the 4th official, and he wasn't happy with him. But it's resulted in another charge for John Yems. I genuinely don't know what the Crawley fans, the Crawley board, see in him, because he does this every time they lose. He also came out and said that he's not going to blame. He says, I'm not going to blame the players. This is on me. But then in his interview went on to slate the players. And then he went, but I picked them, so it's my fault.
Yeah, I think he's kind of trying to take pressure off the players, but at the same time keep it off himself as well. By the sound of things, it's mad.
He's a special kind of person. But enough about Crawley. We're talking about the Hartlepool run.
So the Hartlepool run, it's not just you've said 6 unbeaten, 3 draws, and then 3 wins.
Yeah,
it's not just the 3 wins. Crawley's not an easy place to get a win, regardless. It is not an easy place to get a win. But Tranmere, like we did not. You said yourself you weren't looking forward to the game because Tranmere, like you have beaten Tranmere. Yes, it was at home, but that's Tranmere. They were the form side up until the Mansfield time. But what a result that is! Like that's
phenomenal
incredible.
result.
And you said last week that you think that Hartlepool could be the ones that, because there's always that one club that towards the end of the season tries to makes a break into the playoffs. It's hard to argue that when you see your current form, you see how you're playing, you see the teams you're turning over.
I do think that we are going to have a really good run, and there's real shout among all of the supporters about a playoff push coming in. Graham Lee's done a lot of really shrewd business over in the January transfer window.
For his first managerial job as well.
His first managerial job. He's taken all the knowledge that he's taken from Middlesbrough under 23s. He's brought in some great players that he knows. Bryn Morris coming in from Burton Albion that he came from. Brought in Omar Bogle. I was shouting and raving about that signing. I said months ago he's the type of person we should be bringing in. People had their doubts, but he's a proven striker in this league, and he's going to be the person.
He's doing it already, isn't it, for you?
Yeah,
he's doing it already.
I mean, I said that he's everything that Fondop wasn't.
Obviously not.
He still is. He still is for me. He still is. He is going to be the man to take us forward, and
he is.
If we don't get in the playoffs this year, we'll get there next year.
You've got to keep this team together, and I think I mentioned that there's a couple of players that I think that will maybe not be looking to move on, but I think there'll be eyes on them. Molyneux for one of them. I think Mickey Featherstone walks into any team in this league.
That's the thing. Featherstone's not getting any younger.
Mm-hmm.
And if we bring in Bryn Morris, who is a local Hartlepool lad, and we manage to get him on a permanent deal, then I could potentially see that paving the exit for Featherstone, because they're very, very similar players. And Featherstone's coming to the end of his contract this year, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, I'd take him. I think he's a phenomenal player.
Many clubs would. I'd love him to stay because he's a great person to have around the dressing room. He loves a moan. Watching him in the pitch is funny because he just moans. But he's a leader, and we need people like him at the club, and people have had the amount of games he's had.
Yeah. So, just looking at League Two for the last 7 days, then there's the game of the week. I don't think we can dispute it was Exeter Harrogate 4-3. I think Harrogate were 2-0 up. Then Exeter scored. Harrogate went 3-1 up, and then Exeter just sort of ran away and won 4-3. And I think it was with the last kick of the game. Now, I've actually got a couple of goals to show, because we saw the equaliser for Newport. Phenomenal goal earlier.
What a goal!
But it wasn't the best goal of the week, because when you look at this, I'm going to show you now. I'm going to show you Exeter's winner. It's phenomenal. But I've got one that I feel is even better after that as well, which is, what a week. So I'm going to drop this in right now. I'm going to let you see it. Let me know. I'm going to show you both. You let me know which one was better. So this is the Exeter one first and foremost. End of the game.
That turn.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's not even the goal. It's the turn that he does to bring it onto his foot and then curls it in. Phenomenal.
Next one. And this is Bristol Rovers. So just look at this. For me, is that vision from there. That's better for me. That is better for me there, because I think that's a more difficult one to hit. Now, don't get me wrong. The way that the Exeter player hit the ball was the outside of the left foot. It's beautiful, and that is so hard to do. But to round the keeper, don't know what the keeper were doing. I could not tell you what
I couldn't. I mean, it looked as if the defence were nowhere.
Yeah. So the keeper had to cover five positions.
Out, but he leaves his goal wide open.
He comes out but doesn't commit.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I think you've got to... He comes out and just sort of flaps a little bit, but the player rounds him to take it further away from goal, and then just floats it in.
Brilliant goal.
Could have gone anywhere. Went in. Beautiful goal. So for me, that was goal of the week for me. But the game of the week has got to be... No, it's got to be Exeter Harrogate for game of the week, and Exeter have got to be buzzing with that.
Just doing Exeter things.
Yeah.
Right now, we've mentioned their run. They're on as a better run than Mansfield at the moment from looking at things. And yeah, they even when they're 2-0 down, 3-1 down, you can't count them out.
No.
It's interesting that Adrian thought that Mansfield will comfortably beat Exeter when it's
potential to be one of the games of the season, hasn't it? Like that could be an incredible game.
Great. And is it going to be Sun's unbeaten run's going to come to an end, or are they just going to play it out in a 0-0 draw? We don't know. I would love to get an Exeter fan on here in response to his chat earlier on to see what they think of this game coming up. So if any Exeter fans are listening, then give us a shout. We want to talk to you. If any Exeter fans aren't listening, then we'll find an Exeter fan. We'll bring you on and we'll get some Exeter fans to listen to this podcast.
If I found a Forest Green fan, I'll find an Exeter fan.
That's true.
Speaking of Exeter, and this leads me into this next 7 days for League Two. I'm focusing again on the bottom, and I know we focus on the bottom a lot, but I think the reason we focus on the bottom a lot is because we see the top has wrapped up at the minute. The playoffs are so close. There's not really a discussion as to who we think is going to be actually there for definite, sort of second downwards. But the bottom half or the bottom end of the league is a discussion. It's a hard week for every team in the bottom 5, aside from Scunthorpe. Which, I mean, you're bottom of the league, every game's a hard game for you, but Oldham have got Bradford. Bradford just sacked the manager. We
both think it could be tight.
Yeah, you never want to come up against a team that have just sacked the manager because you don't know what you're coming up against. You don't know what they're going to settle like. You don't know what they've been training like. Everything's changed. Colchester go to Northampton.
Oh,
Carlisle.
That's not a nice one.
It's not at all. It's really not. But this is where, for someone like Scunthorpe, we wrote them off. We wrote Oldham off in the first podcast, and look at Oldham now. We wrote Scunthorpe off after that. If Scunthorpe are going to be left with any fighting chance, it's this weekend. They've got to get a result because they play Rochdale this weekend.
Yeah, they do. And Rochdale, you're looking at... When I'm looking at the form league, Rochdale aren't that much further in the last 5 games than Scunthorpe are.
No.
They've taken 5 points. Rochdale have taken 4 points out of 5 games. Scunthorpe have taken 3 points out of 5 games.
Yeah. And that's the 4 teams above Scunthorpe. Exeter are hosting Barrow this weekend. We just spoke about Exeter. You can't look beyond Exeter in that game. You've got to think Barrow are going to drop points. Carlisle have got Swindon. You've got to think Swindon are going to turn Carlisle over. Again, we just mentioned it. Colchester going to Northampton. Mm-hmm. It's got a Northampton win written all over it. Obviously, something's going to give, and we'll get something wrong because we always do. And then Oldham, Bradford. For me, this is the week. Scunny have got to get. If Scunny want to have any chance at all, or want to signal any intent of a bit of fight left in them, this is it. They've got to do this weekend. They've got to get a win. Or they've got to at least fight.
This is their game, and I think if they don't win, I think Scunthorpe fans will be... They'll be feeling hard done by, I think. I think they will start to bury their heads a bit more and go, could this be the year that we drop down into the National, into that horrible purgatory league?
Yeah. And I think we could be quite confident in saying that if they don't get anything out of this weekend, I mean, we were quite confident before, but it's at the stage where I'd put money on it that'd be it for them.
You wouldn't get much back.
Exactly. So that's looking at the next 7 days. We've got a couple of midweek games next week, but mainly I wanted to focus on this weekend. And obviously we've overrun quite a lot tonight, guys, because we said we would have to because of everything that's gone on. A new manager coming in at a club, a manager getting sacked at a club. We had the Mansfield fan on, we had Adrian on for a bit, but we have run over.
Who would have thought, even with just the 2 of us, we've managed to run over?
Can you imagine if Chris was here? He wouldn't have got out on time because we'd have still been recording it. But honestly, Chris, we missed you this week. It'll be good to get you back next week, and I'm looking forward to you getting your thoughts out on the Adams situation. I feel like when we
I want you to put on loads of fake tan and come on.
Yes.
I want you to be looking like Dickinson.
Yes. And next week, Grant is coming down for the Bradford game against Mansfield, and who knows, we might upload something between me, him, and Chris when we're all together, because we're going to get together at some point before the game, even if it's just 5 minutes of Grant ripping on Bradford.
Hopefully, as well, by then, our Oldham tops will have arrived.
Yes. Yes, the Oldham tops with Fond up on the back. So, I mean, we can't wear them to the game, Grant. Just point that out there.
No, we can't wear them to the game, but we are keeping up our end of the deal. We are getting them ordered. I believe you're ordering the home top.
I'm going for the home top. I love it.
I'm ordering the away top. We've got one of each. So and Chris is
still looking to get the Sir Sheridan 6 on the back of one, if Oldham stay up because of Sheridan. But guys, Grant, if you've got anything else you want to add, I don't know if you have anything else you want to touch on. We're all good.
The only thing I want to do is just continue as normal. Everyone like, share, comment, subscribe. Like us, follow us on Spotify.
Really shitty comment if you like, but just give it a 5-star with it. Let's have a look. Grant, I've just realised that we had a little chat box at the side. Grant's been leaving messages, and I've only just read them. So that's fun. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. This has been episode 5. Yeah, we'll be back next week with episode 6. We'll catch you then. Good luck, Scunthorpe. Let's see if you can bag some at this weekend.